All right, welcome to another episode of Bring the Thunder podcast starring Thunder Talk. We got Jack, Thunder coverage here, and Joe, of course. The Thunder just beat the Grizzlies 125-104, but that scoreline is very deceiving if you didn't actually watch the game. This is a close game. Honestly, the Grizzlies had the lead there at the end, but let's start kind of from the beginning of the game. What do you guys thoughts about the start of that first quarter, second quarter?
Yeah, so I mean, I loved it. I saw tonight that we started a bit slow, a little rusty, which is okay. I mean, we haven't been rusty all season. And I enjoyed that. I was like, okay, this is going to be a scrap. They're gonna have to win this game. You know, they're not going to just blow them out. I mean, they kind of did, but yeah. And I liked, well, I disliked the double big tonight. Chet wasn't able to get going, especially with, they had Jaren Jackson, but I'm not too sure we need a double big lineup for Jaren Jackson and Aldama. But again, I think this is probably more one of their testing stuff out type of games. So, yeah, slow start, but finish strong.
Fourth quarter was electric. Like Hartenstein, man. Too good.
Yeah. I thought Cason Wallace played really well in this one. Isaiah Joe had a couple big threes. I guess the thing that I wanted to mention was Jay Will kind of picked up a quick injury, and then Caruso had some back injury as well in this one. So it kind of messed up the rotation that we had going. Honestly, this Memphis team played us similar to like how most teams are going to play us in the playoffs. Just hardcore defense, picking up Shea. I thought that was a great tactic that they had throughout the game to really wear him down. And then in the fourth quarter, we made the adjustment of having Cason Wallace bring the ball up. I thought it was good experience for us. I knew eventually the game would break through. It just took a Lou Dort moon sky of a shot that just, led to a Hartenstein rim rattler that just electrified the crowd. I mean, so it was a good game up until that point. I do think from a ref perspective, we see Shea is not getting the same calls, or there's a lot of calls he's expecting to get going towards the basket, and he's getting bumped that he's probably not going to get moving forward with the rest of the games remaining, and especially going into the playoffs. So I think there is going to have to be some sort of an adjustment from his end, is to not expect it and just to finish out the plays. That was one thing that I'll call out. The other thing was, I believe it was either the third or fourth quarter where when Shea's missing back-to-back baskets, our offense stalled a lot. And I made a tweet about that where it's like, if that's occurring and J-Dub's not on the court, the offense is going to stall. And when other guys have to become shot creators, we're not as lethal. Of course, obviously, when your best player is not making buckets, it's not going to work out really well. But we do have to figure out some sort of adjustment there. And I really hope we get AJ Mitchell back here next week that'll really fix the adjustment that we're looking for.
Yeah, so there's another thing there that kind of it isn't really brought up. I agree with AJ, but Aaron Wiggins wasn't playing tonight, and he's a big bucket getter for us. When Shea's off or Shea's not in, Aaron Wiggins has been a go-to guy. So him not having him tonight, kind of hurt a bit. But
that's a good point.
A lot of guys stepped up, especially with the Caruso injury. I mean, Cason did his thing off the bench. I kind of would have loved if he started tonight. But other than that, I mean, it was really nice to have J-Dub back. Pretty efficient game, 50% from the field. Shea hasn't been as efficient because he's not getting those calls, but I like the fact that he's staying aggressive. And, Twitter may have won and finally influenced refs during the regular season, but that's fine because he's going to get it's going to be like this in the postseason anyway. The one thing I will say about it is if it's a foul, you have to call it. It's not if, he gets fouled too much. Everyone's saying he gets fouled too much. So if he gets slapped in the arm, I'm not going to call this one. If he gets fouled, call it. If it's 50,
they're calling the more obvious ones. The ones that they're not calling is kind of the bump fouls that he normally gets going into the lane.
Other than that, I mean, what do you, 37 points, 6 assists. What are you going to do? Plus 26. Lou Dort plus 27. Hartenstein, Jack brought him up. 18-11. Chet off night. Never really got going, but this is like his first game that he was kind of off since he came back from injury, so it's fine with that.
Yeah, Hartenstein broke the Thunder record, by the way, for being the most assisted big man of Thunder history. So congrats to him.
It's awesome.
Awesome to see. And it's got to that point in the season where I'm watching the game, tie game. I didn't even notice. I was like, oh, wow, tie game. But I didn't even doubt for a second that we were winning that game. And it just turns in a second.
Yeah.
And boom, we're up to 20. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, let's talk about that fourth quarter because, I mean, this team knows how good it is, and I'm glad to see it because not that they're going to do this in the playoffs. They're not going to. But they're able to, end of the season, don't want to get injured, even though we kind of did a bit tonight. Kind of just like go with the game, go as it flows, and then fourth quarter, okay, we're down or we're only up by a bit, kill them. And they won the quarter by 19 points, 34-15. It's not even the offense, guys, in these fourth quarters. In these big games against Boston, we did it against we did it against Denver. We shut down people in the fourth quarter. And not to interrupt our post game here, but an ex-OKC player, Josh Giddey, just hit a half-court buzzer beater over LeBron to beat the Lakers again.
2 seconds ago, I saw it pop up on my feed on the side because I had my other screen up, and that's why my face was like this on the other side because I was like, bruh, no way this man just hit a half-court buzzer beater. Oh, my goodness.
That's awesome.
I know the Alex Caruso, Josh Giddey trade is going to just be more and more fueled. I mean, I know Caruso is going to be great this playoff run, but at the time, I was probably one of the bigger Josh Giddey supporters out in public, especially having a very public profile, understanding kind of the scenario that he was put in, where it was essentially Twitter trolls really exposing him in quotations, and letting him go is very sad in my heart.
Well, I don't want to keep going on that tangent, but maybe I do. It's not that we traded Josh because he was a bad player. We know how good and talented Josh is. He just didn't fit with us anymore, and that's completely okay. What we got back in Caruso has been fantastic, and it's going to be even better in the playoffs, I hope, I expect. Veteran leadership, lockdown defense, a better three-point shooter, more consistent three-point shooter, I should say. And, yeah, he just fits better. That's all it is. That's all it was with Josh. We didn't trade him away because, this guy sucks. We know how good Josh Giddey is. But he just didn't fit. He was getting attacked on defense. And
I just don't think if that scenario had arisen, even if he doesn't fit with the roster, he's someone that we could have easily moved to the bench because I just looked up. Like he was a 6th overall pick in the 2021 draft. And I think probably
going to be the plan.
Well, yeah. That was going to be the plan, but he told them he didn't want to come off the bench. And you got to respect the guys. He's good enough to not come off the bench. He can start anywhere. So,
yeah. I think it's fair for both sides, but man, I think
it is what it is.
Yeah, it is.
I'll be rooting for him. I'll be rooting for him for 100%. Well, on that, I want to get back to the game here. 49% from the field, pretty damn good. 42 from three, excellent. This team has shown, last year going into playoffs, it was who's going to score and can they shoot the ball. Shooting was a little iffy. This team this year has shown that they could shoot the rock with the best of them, pretty consistently too. Even if it's Shea having an off night, they'll have 3 other guys hitting threes. If Dort and Kaysen aren't hitting threes, they'll have Wiggins and Joe hitting threes. Like they have too many 3-point options. They have great defenders, and they have the best player in the world. I think it's time to start talking about maybe 70 wins, guys. I don't want to jinx it, but there's a damn good chance, guys.
I mean, we're on a 8 straight win streak, 9 straight over the Grizzlies, 61 wins, 14-game lead over the number 1 in the West. Like, it's entirely possible, especially with J-Dub now returning. The offense won't stall as much, so it's a lot less likely. Like, even when the offense does stall, we can put a J-Dub Chet lineup, and it's pretty much wraps from there in the fourth quarters like we saw tonight. So this can be a very consistent thing for us where 10, 15, point blowouts are going to be continuing to happen, especially with teams resting their top level talent. So as long as we're not resting like all of our starters, we should win out.
We've seen that. We've seen that all year. We haven't had a full starting lineup a lot. And the guys who are out, I mean, the guys who stay in, just step up. The greatest thing about OKC this year is if the offense does stall, the defense goes crazy and they create transition and then they get their groove back on offense. It happens every single time the offense stalls. They're like, oh, shit, what are we going to do? Let's go get 3 straight steals, 3 straight buckets, and then we'll hit a 3, and now we're back in the groove. Like, it's truly unbelievable. I don't know what will stop them because the media likes to say it's the lack of the second option. We got so many second options on this damn team right now, man. It can happen in any game. It doesn't matter who it is. I could list them out. I mean, Hartenstein's freaking fantastic offensive engine. J-Dub, Chet, Knights, Lou Dort could be a second option. There's been Knights, Kaysen's been a second option. Aaron Wiggins can be a second option. Like the scoring is, there's scoring from everywhere on this team. As long as they continue this defense, especially in fourth quarters like this, it's going to be hard to knock this team out, guys.
That segues perfectly into a point I wanted to make about Lou Dort. He had an average game for the first 3 quarters. Turned it up offensively in the fourth, but the whole game on Desmond Bane, making his life hell. 3 points for Desmond Bane in 32 minutes. 8.3% from the field. 1 out of 12. I mean,
the greatest thing about that was I was kind of smiling because Ja didn't play tonight because he didn't want no more of Lou Dort. He had enough of Lou Dort this season. So they just throw Lou right on to their next best player and Bane, and then Bane went through hell tonight. It was awesome. I love that guy.
I want to point out a quick Lou Dort stat. I think he leads, or the Thunder technically lead the league in the lowest amount of 30-point games and 20-point games by other, or it's 30-point games and 40-point games by the other team's stars by quite a margin, especially for the 40-point games, but 30-point games. I don't have the exact stat in front of me, but that attributes directly to Lou Dort holding the top offensive players in the league to less than 30 and less than 40. I mean, there hasn't even been, I believe, a 40-point game by an individual player against the Thunder this season, which is unheard of. The level of defense this man is playing on a one-to-one basis. That's not just team defense. That's a one-on-one attribute. I mean, we're going against guys like LeBron and others, Luka Doncic, whoever, you name it. Much. Yeah, you name it.
Tatum played very well, but it wasn't.
Yeah, exactly.
With Tatum, in the second game on the road, it was spurts too. It was just quick spurts from him, 7 points in a row, and then he was quiet, and then 7 points in a row, and he was quiet. You know, so the guy is absolutely fantastic. He's going to
be DPOY, by the way, with the way we have the number 1 defense, and he's the centerpiece of that defense. He should win it by those marks.
So I'm cool with him not winning DPOY. I will argue that he is, but they're probably not going to let that happen. But that's a great argument. Number 1 defense, number 1 on-ball defender on the number 1 defense. But I'm fine with them giving it to like Mobley or Jackson or something like that, right? If they give it to Draymond Green over Lou Dort, I'm gonna flip out because now it's like we don't give a rat's ass about this trophy. Just take it. Like, come on, bro. The dude asked for it in the media. He said I should win it, and his odds on the books went crazy. Like, what has he done? Where, like, he had 1 good game? Like, oh, man.
The Warriors haven't even been that consistent. They've been getting dogged by a lot of poor-level teams. Yeah, so he should not win it. Like, I'd be actually upset because that really defeats the purpose of the award. Like I wouldn't mind Evan Mobley because of how good the Cavaliers, like, I understand that. The guy that I really would want to win it is Dyson Daniels, man. I mean, if anyone's going to win it over a Lou Dort, I mean, he can definitely be the guy. I think he should be really considered, but between Mobley and Dyson are the kind of the only 2 people that I would let the award
I do not
go.
want to see Jaren Jackson Jr. win it, bro.
Yeah,
even
Jaren
Mobley's
Jackson,
a bit of a stretch. Like, Mobley's not. Yeah, it's just.
Well, the reason I mentioned Mobley is
Daniels. It should go to Daniels, but
it should go to Daniels. But the reason I mentioned 100%. Mobley is because of the team overall defense by the Cavaliers. Right. So I can at least understand a case for it. There's a case.
They're number 1 team in the East. He's a number 1 shot blocker on that team.
Exactly.
Goes hand in hand, right? But But yeah, quickly back to the game. I do want to, not that I'm shouting the guy out, talk about Scottie Pippen Jr.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking excellent game tonight, 17, 10, and 7. These are the type of games for these guys that just like fly under the radar because OKC's so good and they end up blowing them out. But he had a real effect. Yeah. Wells had 13 and 5. They both shot 50%. Memphis got some young guys. We'll see what they could do with that. Not this year. Well, never when you're playing against OKC, but like you could try to compete with the other teams, I guess. But I guess other than the game, speaking of that giddy half court shot, it's looking like it's going to be inevitable that we play LA in the second round right now.
I'd actually prefer that. The longer the playoffs go for LeBron, the more polished he gets. He's even mentioned this in Mind the Game, his own podcast, where he's like, if you see me in a Western Conference Finals, you don't want that if you're a young team. Like he's verbalized that. Like you're probably not going to win that matchup because at that point, he's at the peak of his powers. I'm cool with seeing him in the second round when we've got more energy. They've got less time to gel, and that actually favors us. The more time they get to gel between him and Luka, the worse it is for us. And they're the third best team that can really get us in the playoffs. I still have the Nuggets over the Lakers in terms of threat levels. So,
yeah. So I kind of changed around a few times here, but I think I'd rather play LA too now. Just because I keep going over matchups, right? And it's like if Austin Reeves isn't doing much, they're not going to win a lot of games, right? Because I mean, LeBron and Luka can only do so much when they have no role players around them. I mean, you got Rui, you got Finney-Smith, you got Hayes, but if Reeves is getting clamped by Case and Wallace or J-Dub or Lou Dort or whoever it's going to be, Caruso, they can't match up well with us at all, especially inside as well.
Who got shit?
Yeah, they don't match up inside as well. And then what are they going to do? Throw LeBron on Shea? Like, I don't really think that helps them because we'll just go to somebody else at that point, and Shea will still be going at him. But so I'd like to. I'd like to see
the 3-point game.
I think it's
the 3-point game to compete with the double big lineup,
right?
Which
the lack of shooting as well. I would like to see LA, and I would like to see LA for a reason. I brought it up the other night with Satvir. I think maybe you too, Jack. I think they're kind of falling on purpose. I don't think they want to see Denver in the second round. They want to see us, which I think is hilarious. So I hope we go out and show them.
Yeah, It's looking like they're wanting to play us, and I'd prefer that loser mentality to enter the gym and just let the basketball handle it on the court.
At one point, it's just going to be too late. They tried to win a game against Chicago tonight. They still lost. Giddy hit a 3 right there. Like,
yeah, they're having way too many close games against mid-tier or even below mid-tier teams. I want to make a quick case for Shea's MVP. I know it's solidified. It's like negative 5,000 odds via, all betting sites and stuff. That's like 98% predicted odds. He's practically near a unanimous level. I believe he'll probably be like 1 or 2 votes away from like a unanimous.
If this isn't a unanimous MVP, I'm going to go crazy. But anyway,
it's definitely going to be 1 or 2 votes away because I think there's going to be a couple people that'll troll. I mean, considering Kendrick Perkins has a vote. Anyways, the two stats that I wanted to mention was Shea 30-point games, 46 of them this season, and I believe he has 66 20-plus games. He's getting closer to the all-time record for 20-plus games.
How many games? Do you know how many games he is? It's only a handful of games now.
Yeah, I believe we have 9 games left. I think
he's 7 away.
Huh?
He's 7 away now, I think.
I believe so. Like I know we have more games to play than what the record is, so he should pretty much be able to beat it as long as we're not sitting him maybe for the last 2 or 3. Yeah, so he should be able to get that record. I think at least at the bare minimum tie it. He'll probably beat it by like a game and then rest the rest of the way, to be honest.
It's awesome stuff. I mean, you said 46 30-plus point games. We're not including the 50s, the 40s.
Yeah, and he's also leading NBA history like 3rd in the most 35-plus point games. I mean, he's doing crazy stuff right now.
He's unbelievable. We're 73 games in, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
So because we're 61-12 now.
Mhm.
So by my super smart calculations, 63% of games he's having 30 points. 30. Like, it's over. It's over. One of the best regular seasons I've seen in a while. One of the best MVP seasons I've seen in a while. Time for a chip, baby.
Yeah, he's also having an overall, amongst all stats except for true shooting, a better season than Kevin Durant did in his MVP year.
Oh yeah,
So,
he's got Durant's MVP by a lot.
Yeah, by
Mhm.
like a tremendous amount. So
All right. But other than that, I'm all set on this game. It's pretty much been the same game every time we go out recently. It's close a little bit and then it's over. The only thing we will have to take away is the J. Will injury and the Caruso injury. I don't think they're anything that serious. Caruso's been dealing with the same stuff for 82 games already this season, so we'll continue. But Xavier, if you want to wrap this up.
yeah. Let's go. Bring the thunder.
Bring the thunder. Follow us everywhere. Break it down, Jack. We're Instagram. We're at YouTube. We're on X. We're on Spotify,
Twitter.
Apple Podcasts.
Yeah.
We're on Twitter. We're on someplace in Russia, I think. Other than that, thunder up, baby. Let's go. Let's keep it rolling.